This conference will now be recorded.
So today we will going to cover the memory management and the core services of the HANA database and the startup and the shutdown sequence. Okay, so let's start. So SAP HANA core processes, we already know, we covered this one. So in that additional, we can see that daemon is there, then SAP Web Dispatcher is there, and then SAP Start services are there. So these three are the additionals in the core processes. So what is the daemon? So daemons, it start all the processes and keep them running. So means, so daemon's roles and responsibilities is that his roles and responsibilities is that he should the daemon should make sure that the all the code processes, HANA core process should be up and running. If daemon find that any services are down or stop, then daemon automatically start the services. For example, if the name server is stop, so daemon start the name server automatically. Okay, so daemons keep monitoring all the core services and it makes sure that all the core services are up and running. If it's found any errors or down, then it start. If the daemon cannot able to start the services, then you will see that your services in the stop states. So then you have to look for the logs trace file for that particular services. Okay, if there is a no issue like hardware issue, there is no hardware OS issue, the OS parameters kernel issues, then daemon will able to restart your services. Okay, so daemon keeps all services up and running. So in the daemon.ini files, we have the daemon.ini files. So in the daemon.ini files, so in this example, all the core services like compiles, index server, name server, preprocessor, these all statistics. So these all services, these all core services are included in the daemon.ini. So whatever the services are maintained in the daemon.ini, so daemon process will responsible for starting and stopping those services which are maintained in the daemon.ini. Yeah. So we don't maintain, it's maintained automatically during the installations. Okay, so we don't touch the daemon.ini and don't touch and it is not recommended to touch daemon.ini. So let it handle by default. The second is the SAP web dispatches. So it is an entry point for HTTP request. If you want to connect from the browsers, then you can use the HTTPS port. Okay, you can also connect to the XX engine. Okay, but you can also connect through the web dispatcher as well. So web dispatcher and XX engine are used to receive the HTTP or HTTPS requests. So if you connect to the SAP web dispatchers port on from the URLs, then it will redirect your request to the XX engine. Okay, so web dispatcher is the entry point for the HTTP request. SAP start services that is responsible for starting and stopping all the services. Okay, so we'll see that. So if you see that the startups sequence, so when we install the any SAP application, whether it is SAP ECC or any ABAP Java or SAP HANA database, then during the installation, uh, the SAP INT, uh, this script is created SAP INT. Okay, so it is there in etc init.d and then SAP INT, and in that SAP INT, you will installer create a entry for SAP start SRPs. So whenever you restart or start the operating systems, this SAP start SRP started automatically. Okay, so you will see in your systems. Okay, whenever you start, these services started automatically. We don't start these services; it started automatically with OS boot, OS reboot or OS boot. Okay, why? This is encoded into the SAP INT. That's the reason it is automatically start when you start the operating systems. Okay, so what is the use of this? So this is the main services which start and stop your any SAP systems, including the HANA. Okay, so whenever you execute SAP stop SAP or SDP stop or SAP control programs you use for starting and stopping, then that signals goes to the SAP start SRV. So SAP start SRVs um, receive the signals, and then it start and stop the SAP systems. Okay, fine. So in our case in HANA, so SAP INT is created. The SAP start SRV services are maintained into the these files. So whenever you start and stop the OS, SAP start SRV is started automatically. You don't start and stop SAP start service. So when you execute a SDB stop from the SID ADM, then the command is received by the SAP start service. Then SAP start service asks SDB daemon to stop the HANA database. Then SDB daemon receive the signals. Sorry, I told that stop, right? Okay, so let me explain again. So if you want to start, for example, let's consider the example for starting the HANA database. So if you execute a SDB start from the SID ADM, then using the SDB stop or SAP controls programs, then the signals received by the SAP start service, then SAP start service send the signals or command to the SDB daemon to start the HANA database. Then SDB daemon started first, and then whatever the services are maintained in daemon.ini, those services started automatically. So daemon asks those core services to start. Okay, so this core services started once daemon is started. Okay, so this is the startup sequence. Your OS boot, OS reboot, then SAP start SRV executed, started, then you execute the start command SDB start, SDB daemon started, then SDB daemon start the other core processes. Okay, this is the startup sequence. Same is the shutdown sequence. So if you shut down the SDB, shut down the HANA database using the HDB stop, then the signal is received by the SAP start service. It send the signal to the SDB daemon. Okay, then SDB daemon send the signals to all the HANA core processes and ask them to stop, and then daemon goes down, and then remaining all the services going down depends upon their memory deallocation and all that, or save points. During the shutdown, the save points will be executed in the HANA database. So whatever the data we have in the memory, those will be unloaded okay, from the memory. Okay, so daemon goes down. Before going down, daemon send the signals to all the HANA core process. I'm going down, you also go down. Okay, so it go down, and then the all services goes down in the HANA systems, all the core services. So this is the startup and the shutdown sequence. So interview question. So what is the startup or shutdown sequence for the HANA database? You have to explain this one. So, and the interview questions, what is the daemon and the roles and responsibility for the daemons, and also what is the SAP start service, what is the roles and responsibility for the SAP start service. Any questions, guys? No questions? Okay, fine. Let's move. I'm audible, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, fine. So let's move ahead with no questions. So whatever I explained, the here it is written. Okay. So I'm skipping this one. So yeah. So whatever till now I explained, so everything is written over here. Right. Now memory management. Okay. So HANA memory management. So in the HANA monitorings, when we do the monitoring there, we see that resident memory and then used HANA memory, used HANA memory. So what is that exactly? What those things? What are the content? Okay, so we'll see that. So the total amount of memory used by SAP HANA is referred as the HANA used memory. So total amount of memory used by HANA is all the processes, all the code processes, the memory utilizations by those are called used memory. Okay. So this used memory includes, the code stack. So here we have the code stack, system tables, row tables, column tables. Okay, so this is the fixed amount of the memory required for your HANA database. Okay, so code in stacks is always, whenever you start the HANA database, code and stack is loaded into the memory. Then system tables are loaded into the memory. Then all the row tables are loaded into the memory. Then plus some of the column table which is marked for loading. Those column tables are loaded into the memory. So this is the fixed amount of memory. Okay, so this much of the fix. Okay. And then remaining is database management. So if your HANA database is required, additional memory or temporary memory during the runtime, then it's take the memory from the allocation limit. Okay, that is the free. And then your use memory go up. Okay, so initially when you start your HANA database, you will see that your memory utilization is very minimum. Okay, so less. Okay, so why? Because it is not the case that whenever we start the HANA database, all the memories, all the data is loaded into the memory. Okay, we'll see that one. So not all the data are loaded, only the required tables are loaded into the memory, and the memory required for those tables, whatever the memory we require, that we call a static memories. Okay, so if you remember that static memory and the dynamic memory I explained in the sizing. Okay, so you can consider this is the static memory. So this is the static memory we required, that much amount of holding the tables. And then after that, if you run any queries and then you create any tables, any objects, then you run the query, SQL queries. Okay, if it is required more memory, then data management, the so this database management is nothing but performing the operation in the dynamically. So whenever your memory allocation is increased, memory usage is increased, your database management, the utilization is also increased. Okay, so if you see here, at any given time at any given time, the part of the pools are used as a temporary computations. Okay, so this part is used for temporary computations. So temporary computation is happening in database management. If the database management is required, temporary memory to perform some operation, then it takes the memory from the pools. Okay, once it's performed the once the task is completed, and if it release the memory, then your utilization will go down. Okay, so if you see that if your memory utilization is still here, then it's called a HANA use memory. So in that, it's contain the plus database management use memory. Okay, so this allocation memory is nothing but so what are the memory you are allocating your tenant database. So yesterday we covered that how to allocate the memory for the tenant database. So in the global.ini, then memory managers, in that we have the allocation limit. So that allocation limit is nothing but this one. So you have allocated your for tenants, for example 1 TB. Okay, here from here to here is the 1 TB, and your utilization for your 600 GB, for example here. Okay, then the rest of 400 GBs are free, which we call a free pool. Okay, so whenever the HANA database require more memory, it will take the memory from the pools. Okay, and if you see here, the physical memory. So the resident memory is referring to the physical memory. The physical memory contain the OS and other programs. Okay, the memory used by OS and other programs, and plus the memory used by the HANA processes. Okay, so it's very simple. Okay, so this is the resident, which refer to physical memory, and this is the HANA used memory, which refer to the allocation memory. Any questions here?
So the global allocation limit and virtual memory are the same definition.
The global allocation limit or allocation memory
and
yeah.
virtual memory.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, virtual memory means you're allocating the the global allocations or allocating your memory to your tenant database. So in HANA database, we don't have the so HANA database doesn't use these swaps. Okay, so in the HANA database we don't configure these swaps. Okay, so swaps is required for your applications. For database, in memory database, the swaps is not required. Okay, why? Because if you configure the swaps, then HANA database will use the swaps. Okay, swap memory. Okay, so you won't get the good performance. So we don't configure the swaps in HANA database. Okay, at the OS level, we configure some swaps is required for the OS. Okay, so we configure the minimum. Okay, if you configure, for example, if you have the 500 GB of memory, okay, and you're configuring the 500 or 600 GB of swaps, then your swaps will be utilized. Okay, so in HANA database, we configure the minimum swap. So SAP recommend that you configure minimum 2 GB for your OS. Okay, not more than that. Okay, otherwise you will see the performance issues. Fine. Yeah, so virtual memory is nothing but your these all, you can say that. So this just only concept. So virtual memory, we don't have any virtual memory in the HANA database because we don't have the swaps. Okay, so here it is just referring SAP HANA memory in the bracket for your understanding. You can refer as a virtual memory for your understanding purpose. Yeah. Okay, loads and unloads in any in SAP HANA memories. Okay, so as I said that not all the tables data are loaded into the memory whenever we start. So we think that from the start we are thinking that HANA is the in-memory database and all data are there in the memory. So if you have 1 TB of data on this, then all 1 TB of data will be there in the memory. So that is not the correct. So it is partially correct, but not fully. Okay, so we'll see that why it is partially correct. Okay, so yeah, so keep this in. Yeah, this is very important. Yeah, so many interview questions comes on this one. Okay, so SAP HANA database keeps all relevant data in the memory and the standard row tables. So means SAP HANA database keeps all relevant data. Relevant data means system related data in memory and also standard row tables. Okay, are loaded into the memory. When HANA database is started and remain will be there as long as the HANA database is there. So meaning is that HANA database keeps all relevant data in memory and also standard row tables. Also standard row tables are loaded into the memory when the HANA database is started. And these tables and the data will be remain in the memory as long as HANA database is running. So whenever you start, this types of tables and the standard row tables are loaded into the memory always. Okay, so this is partially so yeah, so this one. So the remaining about the column tables. So if you see the example here, So code, stats, system tables, and the row tables. So this is loaded. Okay. So meaning of the sentence, the statements, this one, the first one is this one. Okay. Now what is about the column tables? So column tables never load, okay, automatically. Okay. So sorry, column tables never be loaded automatically when you start your HANA systems. So how the column tables is part of your fixed memory, we'll see that. Okay, so column tables will be loaded in memory on demand. Okay, so what are the column tables? The user access, that columns are loaded into memory column by column. Okay, so means column tables will be loaded in memory on demand column by column when they are first accessed. This types of loading we call lazy loading. Okay, so interview questions, what is the lazy loading? So you can explain this one. Column tables will be loaded into the memory on demand column by column when they are first accessed. This types of loading we call a lazy loadings or column lazy loadings. This means that the columns that are never used are not loaded, and this avoid memory wastage. Okay, this is a default behavior of column tables in SAP HANA. Okay, so to avoid the memory wastage in SAP HANA database, so SAP provided that column tables only be loaded based on the demands. Okay, if the tables which are not which never access, those table will never load into the memory. So those table will be there in the at this level. Okay. Okay, so this is the good features. Okay, so whatever tables the user access, those only loaded into the memory. But these tables will unload when the HANA systems are stops. When HANA systems is stops, then these tables will unload. And when you start HANA systems, then this table only load when users access the tables. So the first these statements is always there in the memory. Okay, first the rows, standard row tables and the relevant data always be there in the memory whenever you restart your HANA database. But this is not the case with the column tables. Okay, so column tables never loaded uh, you know uh, after the restart, but you can mark some critical tables for loading. Okay, so whenever you if you mark some tables, some column tables to be loaded into the memory whenever you restart HANA systems, or whenever you start HANA systems, the particular tables, column table should be loaded in the memory always and will be there in memory as long as the HANA database is running. So this you can achieve. How you can achieve? So HANA systems allow us to mark the column store tables for preloading. Okay, so the tables marks for preloading will be loaded into a memory after index server is restarted. The tables can be selected for fully or partial loading. So if you mark column store tables for preloading, so preloading you can only mark for the column store table. Okay, row store tables is automatically loaded into the memory. Okay, and that row store is always there in the memory. So the column stores you can mark preloading for the column store. So what are the tables you mark for preloading? What are the column tables you mark for the preloading? Whenever you start the systems or start or restart the HANA systems, the tables, column tables, which is marked for preloading, those will be loaded into the memory, and those will be remain in the memory as long as the HANA database is ready. Okay, so you can mark full tables. Okay, that is we call full loading, or you can mark the tables filled, like some columns in that tables, column tables, we have the fields. If you want to load some fields, okay, then you can load those field in the memory as well. So these types of loading we call partial loading. So partial loading, you have to just specify the the fields which you want to load into the memory. So there is a SQL statement to to configure the preloading. We'll see that, but that is not our job. Yeah, I'll explain that. So by default, the column store tables utilize the loading process. That means HANA will only bring the tables into a memory if some queries are executed for those tables. Okay. The preloading do not wait for query to be executed against the tables or columns. Columns mean fields. It will directly load the tables, and hence the user will get immediate and faster response from the systems. Definitely the preloading helps in query performance, query response times, but it has the side effects too. If we select the more tables for preloading, then the restart times of HANA system will increase. Therefore, we have to be very selective about tables preloading marks. If you mark lot of tables for preloading, then your restart time will increase. Okay, because it will load and unload the those tables. Okay, so we don't mark for preloading. So it is done by the developers. Okay, so if they feel, if they know, don't know, yeah, if they know, then they mark. Okay, okay, so yeah, so but don't inform your developers if they know, if they doesn't know about this concept. Otherwise they will mark all the tables for preloading, and then you will face some issues. Okay, so keep this information only with you. The developer who is very smart and he know about the how the HANA database is functioning. Okay, then that guy will be marking these tables based on their business requirements. So the tables which the critical tables which is required always in the memory, those needs to be marks for preloading. Okay, we have the lot of developers, they just they want if they know this one, and if their query is performing very bad, and if they are not in technically goods for tuning their queries. Okay, then what they will do, that they will mark that tables for preloading, and then their response time will will improve. Okay, okay, so yeah, this kind of things will happen. Yeah, so yeah, so any questions till now? Any questions?
This information is kept in which INI file, like marking these tables and other column tables, critical column tables.
Not in the INI files. Yeah, I'll explain that one. Any questions till now here? All clear? Fine. So how to mark the tables for preloading? Okay, so there's SQL statements. Okay, so here is the SQL statements. So it is never loaded in INI files. It is loaded into the it is configured for the tables, and the tables have the some property. Okay, so if you see here, if you want to mark complete tables, that is full loading for tables yearly sales, then you can execute this one. Alter tables, this is the schema dot the column tables name yearly sales, preload all. So this is preload all means you are marking these tables full load. Okay, so whenever you start HANA database, yearly sales tables data is always loaded into the memory. If you want to unset the preloading flags, then just execute alter tables nafta schema name dot yearly cells tables column tables names and then preload none. If you mark this one, this will remove the preloading flags of the tables, and this will be loaded. This table will be loaded as a lazy loading, methods. You can mark some tables for partial loading, like columns. So in the tables we have the columns that we call a field as well. So how you can mark partial alter tables nafta dot yearly cells, then preload under the bracket. Okay, you just give the the columns for these yearly cells like years, product A. Okay, so years, year and the product A. Okay, columns of the tables yearly cell will be loaded into the memory always. So this is we call partial load. More information about SAP HANA loads and unloads, you can go to Q127458 SAP notes. Yeah, you'll get a lot of information in that one. Okay. Fine. So this marking we don't do. So this is done by the developers and the owner of that tables and all that. Yeah. Fine. Next. Any questions? No question. Then I will move. Yeah. So what happened when SAP HANA system is restarted? So all the row tables and the row table attributes are loaded into the memory first. Okay, the tables and the table attributes that are marked for preloads are loaded into the memory synchronously. Okay, and then the lazy loading is done. So interview question: what happened when SAP HANA system is restarted? Most commonly interview questions asked. Okay, so yeah, the answer is the same. So all row tables. So whatever the row tables we have in the HANA systems, that and their attributes are loaded always in the memory and will be remain there in the memory as long as the HANA database is running. And then tables and the table attribute which is marked for preloadings. Okay, those tables will be loaded, and then after that lazy loading will be done. Okay. Fine. Any questions till now before I start the new topic, delta merge? Till now? Okay, no questions. Good. Okay, now we'll see that delta merge. So memory management in the columns. So here we will see the delta merge process. So what is delta merge? Okay, so basically this delta merge process is only for the column store tables. So delta merge is there for the column store tables. Why? We'll see that. So row store tables we don't have the delta merge. So delta merge is applicable for your column stores. So interview questions. So delta merge is applicable for column store or row store or both. So you just answer it. It is for column stores. So delta merge is only for the column stores. And why? Okay, the second question is why the delta merge for the column stores. We'll see that. Okay, so the column store is optimized for the read operations. We know that. So column store is optimized for the read operation, but for writing, the writing is very expensive. That is slow. Reading is faster in the column stores, but also provide a good performance for write operations. So here it is mentioned that also provide the good performance for the write operations. But as per our first lectures, the column store is good for the read operation, but not for the write operation. But here how the sentence is claiming that it is also provide a good performance for the write operation. How it is? Because of it is this is achieved through the two delta structures. Okay, that is the main storage and the delta storage. Okay, so I'll repeat again. So column store is optimized for the read operations, but also provide a good performance for the write operations. This is achieved through the two data structures called main storage and the delta storage. Okay, so what is the delta storage? Delta storage is optimized for the write operations, and the main storage is optimized for the read operation and contain the main part of the data. Okay, for the column tables, so what are the column tables are loaded into the memory? Okay, that column tables has two parts. The main part, okay, the main part is the main data of your HANA systems, and whenever you perform the write operation, then the delta part is also created. Okay, so this delta is part of your main. So delta is the temporary or new data, and the main storage contain the main data of your tables. So yeah, main data of your tables. So if you see that here in this diagrams, so you have the tables, okay, and that tables are loaded. This is the column tables, and it is loaded into the memory, and you have the main part, okay, main storage. Okay, so main storage contain the actual data, main data of your tables, and here you have the delta. So whatever the read write operation you performing in column stores, the delta, the storage is created, and all the write operation will go into the delta, and the delta contain the copy of your main. Okay, so whatever the data we have in the main, okay, the sum of the data will be there in the delta. So whatever the data you want to perform, or whatever the data you want to write. Okay, for example, you have one rows or many rows which you want to uh, uh, you want to modify, or you want to enter new data. So those write operation will go into the delta of your main tables. Okay, so all the write operation will go here, and all the read operation will be from main and the delta. Now, why the read operation from the main and delta? Because the you have the data in main and the delta. Okay, so whatever the latest data, okay, those latest data will be read from main and the delta. So only the writing will go in delta, the writing never go in main. Okay, so we'll see that more in details. So the read operations are performed on the both part, whereas the write operations only affect the delta part. The transfer of the data from the delta parts into a main part, this process is called delta merge. So whatever the data is changed in the column tables, those changed data is there in the delta, in delta storage. Okay, here you have the new data, the changed data, and in the main you have the old data. So copying the data from the delta into a main, this process we call a delta merge. So interview question, what is the delta merge? The delta merge process is nothing but copying the data from the delta storage to the main storage. This process we call delta merge. Okay, so if you see here, you have the memory. Here we have, this is the allocation limit. Okay, allocation, memory allocation, that is the full free. Okay, this is the temporary the memory required for the temporary computations. Here we have the row stores. Here we have the column store tables. Okay, so row stores, we don't have delta merge for the row store, because the row store is optimized for the write operations. The column store is optimized for the read operation, but the writing is also optimized by introducing the delta and the main storage for the column stores. So here if you see the column store table is there, here we have the main, and here is the delta. All the old TP like transactional writing will go in delta, and the readings from main and the delta as well, and then copying the data from delta to main, this process we call a delta merge. Okay, so what happened before delta merge? So delta merge is the process jobs which runs in the HANA systems regularly intervals. Okay, so you cannot see the delta merge the process, okay, jobs. So it's run very fast, okay, and it is internal. You do not controls, okay, you cannot change the parameters for the delta merge. So there are some the parameters for the delta merge in the configuration tab INA. So it's only changed if SAP recommended. Otherwise, don't change the delta merge the parameters. It is system defined and it is maintained by the system. So what happened when before delta merge process, during delta merge process, and then after delta merge process? So delta merge process is nothing but we can say that it is doing the cleanup, garbage cleanups. Okay. So whatever the old data or garbage data is there in the memory, those data will be removed from the memory, the old unused data, to free up the memory. So we'll see that. So before merge process, what happened? Okay, so you have the main storage, you have the delta storage. All read operation will go in main, and the delta, that is main one and the delta one, and the all write operation will go into the delta process, delta storage. So this is the before the merge process start. What happened when the merge process start? Okay, during the merge during the merge job process, what happened? Okay, so the main two and the delta two are created. Okay, so during the merge process, the main two and the delta two are created. Okay, the data of main one is copied to main two. Okay, data of main one is copied to main two. Okay, and the delta one contain the committed and uncommitted data. So all the committed data will merge into main two, and the all uncommitted data from delta one will merge into delta two. All the new write operation during the merge will go in delta two. All the read operation will be performed from main one, okay, delta one and the delta two. Okay, what happened after the merge? Okay, so once the merge process is completed, you will see that deletion of main one and the delta one. So you will see only the main two and the delta two. So after the merge process is completed, it deletes the main one and the delta one because it is unused. Why? Because the data of main one is there in the main two, and the committed transaction data of delta one is copied into the main two, and uncommitted data will transfer to the delta two. So whatever the data we have in this one, okay, it is there in delta two and the main two, and whatever we have in the main one, the data that is there in main two. So to avoid the duplication of the data, after the merge process, it's delete the main one and the delta one. This is, we call it garbage cleanups. Okay, so delta merge process clean the the old data and the data which is not required. Okay, so after merge you will see the main two and the delta two, and then this process continues in the HANA system. So this is just for your understanding purpose how it is done in these systems. Okay, so this happen in the backgrounds, and this process continues. Okay, and this way it's does the delta merge process for your columns to tables. Okay, so in the in delta merge, so whenever you perform a write operations, okay, like insert, update, delete, okay, so it's just only insert the records, okay, in the delta storage. Okay, so in the first lectures, if you remember first or second lectures, I explained that the features for HANA is one of the what is that, insert only. Okay, so insert only is only for your column stores for your delta part. Okay, so the writing is nothing but it's only insert the data, okay, into the delta merge, whether it is whether you are entering the new data, deleting, modifying, whatever. Okay, so it just insert the records. Okay, any questions till now?
I could not understand this main one and main two part, and delta one and delta two. Delta two, I understand, is the uncommitted data. What is the requirement of main two then?
Yeah, let me explain. So only the main two. You
Yes,
have
only
done.
the yes,
Okay.
main. Yeah.
Okay. So here, if you see here, so main two contain what it contain exactly. So after the, if you see that after the merge process, we have the main two and the delta two. Okay. So we don't have the main one and the delta one. So in the main two, we have the data of main one. Okay. So during the merge process, data of main one is transferred into the main two. Okay. And then the committed transaction data, which is there in the delta one, all the committed data is transferred to the main two. Okay. And uncommitted data of delta one is transferred to the delta. Okay. So main two contain committed data of delta one and the data from your previous main. Okay. So the purpose of main two is that it contain your all the previous data from your mains and also the data from your delta part, so committed data. Okay. So after the merge, it will delete your old main one and the delta. Okay. So main one or main two, for example, if you see in my previous slides, this main one. So what is main? Main storage. There is the main storage, optimize the read operation and contain the main part of data. So it contains main data, all data of your tables. So you have the tables. So you have the tables data. So that tables data we call main storage. Okay. And then delta storage is also created if you perform any write operations. Okay. So if you see in this, here, so main two is created. Main two will be a copy of your main one. So initially, whenever the main two is created, it is the copy of your main one. Okay. So main two is the copy of main one. Okay. And the data of the committed data of delta one is transferred to the main two, and uncommitted data of delta one is transferred to delta two. And then after the merge, you will see delta main one and the delta one is deleted. Okay, you will see only the main two and the delta two. And again, if the other merge processes start, then it's create main three and the delta three. The main three will be a copy of your main two, and then the committed transactions of the delta two will be transferred to the main three. Yeah, so your mains is always copy of your previous main and also contain the committed data from the delta. Okay.
But the delta 2, which contains the uncommitted transactions, we do not retain it, right? I mean, do we retain it for some time?
I didn't get you. Retain means?
So after the merge, we have the main, which already contains the delta, whatever committed transactions I have, plus the actual data.
Correct.
And also the uncommitted data are separately kept in the delta 2.
Correct.
So is this delta 2 is retained, or it is just like if I mean, it is not retained in the system because uncommitted data will not be there, right?
No, uncommitted data will not be there if your system is crash. But here the system is not crash. So you are,
Okay.
uncommitted. Yeah, uncommitted means you are doing some, changes in the tables, and you have not executed the, you have not done the save. Okay, you just doing some transactions. Okay, you are working. Okay, but you have not clicked on the save button. Okay, so if that time, if the delta merge process start, then delta merge process will notice that this is uncommitted because the user is doing some changes, but he or she didn't committed. That means whenever you click on the save buttons, then the commit will happen. Okay, and if it is open, if your transaction is open, if transaction is not committed, if you're doing some like SU01, if you are modifying the users, you're just doing some address changes you're doing, and then you that time if the merge process start and you have not clicked on the save, that means that your transaction is open. So all the open transactions treated as a uncommitted transactions. Yeah, so uncommitted is always be there in the systems if it is not crash. If it is crash, then whatever the data you have entered, if you not save, all the open transaction will be gone. Okay.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
So save point is also related to this delta merge process only.
No, save point is not related to delta merge process. Save point is related to entire systems, whether it is row store or column stores. So save point is basically save your the data. So whatever the data is changed in the memory, whether it is row tables or column tables or system tables, okay, whatever it is, those data will copy to your disk. Okay, so save point is also whenever you take a backups, that time the save point is also executed. So it's copy all your data, the change data in the memory, whether it is row, columns or system data. Those changes change data is transferred to your data volumes. So both are different. Delta merge and these save points are different. So delta merge is used for garbage cleanups to free up the garbage data, unwanted data. It deletes from the memory. That's it.
So save point and committed data cannot be said to be like synonymous because this is happening in the memory and that is writing to the disk. Save point.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
During the March process, there will be there's some table will be blocked, I think.
No, not it will not black. So during the merge process, nothing will be blocked. Yeah.
If any changes is happening in the tables, some table, and then if a user try to read the particular table, then how will it happen?
Changes
Like,
only allow for first users only. Okay, so if you are doing changes on XYZ tables, if I'm going to change, then I will be getting a prompt. It is not related to the delta merge process. It is something related to the database, locking mechanisms. If the XYZ people is doing the changes and the same time, if other people want to do a change, then the other people will get a information like this table information like this table is blocked by XYZ table, XYZ users, something like that. So this is called locking mechanisms of all the database. This is happen for entire database, all the database, not only the HANA. So that is basic concept. Yeah. So but that is not related to the delta merge. Yeah. So delta merge process doesn't block anything. Okay, so it just only do the cleanups of your old garbage data. Simple. It doesn't block any tables. Okay. Any other questions? Fine. Okay. No questions. Then move ahead. Okay, so this is all about memory management and the delta process. So I'll go through some interview questions. Okay. Okay, so you just understand those questions, and then you just get the answers from my the sessions. Yeah. Okay. So let me go to the one by one interview questions. So the interview question, first interview questions from the first lectures. What is the different delivery models we have for the on-premise deployments? Okay, so we have the appliance delivery models and the TDI, that is the Tailor Data Delivery models. Okay. The second questions, what is the difference between appliance delivery models and the TDI? Okay, so you just go through that my the recordings. Okay. So the third question is how much the rows you can store in the tables in HANA database. Okay. So I have not explained this one. So maximum the records you can store in HANA database is around 2 billion records. So you can store the records in HANA database, and the limit is 2 billion records. After that 2 billions, HANA will not store any records in the tables. So you have to do the archive. So limit for the HANA tables is 2 billion records. Okay, if it is reached, then this tables require the archive. Your applications has to perform the archive. If it is the basis tables, then you have to perform the archiving. Yep. What is the features available in the HANA database? The first or second lectures, I have explained this one. Go through that one as well. What is in-memory database? That is also I explained. Why HANA is called as a column store tables. Okay, that is also I explained. What is the difference between row store and the column stores? What is the difference between row store and the column store database? Yeah, so row store and the column store. Yeah, that I also explained. Then what is the index servers? What is the preprocessors? Okay, so this types of question will also comes. Statistic servers, what is statistic servers? What is the name servers? Yeah. Then what is the main component in the sizing? What is the main component? What are the main component uh, in sizing? So that is nothing but the memory, RAM. So we do the sizing for the RAMs. Okay, so for the HANA appliance, it is the memory, and for the TDI delivery modules, it is memory, and then disk, and then CPU. Okay, so these are the main component in the sizings. What is static RAMs? What is dynamic RAMs? This type of questions also comes. Then related to the sizing, disk sizing, what is the maximum size you can configure for the HANA shared, then USR SAP, then data volumes, okay, for HANA data SIDs, HANA log SIDs, okay, so this types of questions also comes. Then what is the HANA lifecycle management tools? Okay, so what are the lifecycle management tools? So we have platform lifecycle management tools, then what else? Application lifecycle management tools. Okay, what is the use of platform lifecycle management tools? What is the use of application lifecycle management tools? So this type of questions also comes. Then yeah, so then after that, yeah, so what is the difference between the HDB LCM and the resident HDB LCM? Most you know uh, you know questions. So this question is most asked in all the interviews. Okay, what is the difference between the resident HDB LCM and then HDB LCM from the media? Okay, so yeah, so and then yeah, this is also I explained. Go through my videos. What is the path for resident HDB LCM? That is also explained. Then what is HANA multi-data containers? What is different between HANA 1.0 and the 2.0 in terms of the multi-data containers? What is the default, container for HANA 1.0? What is the default container for HANA 2.0? Something. Okay. So the multi-data containers in HANA 2.0 is the default installation, whereas in HANA 1.0, the single container is the default installations. What are the services are running on systemdb and the tenant database? Okay, so in the systemdb, we have the non-persistent services like name servers. Okay, and in tenant database we have index servers and then access engines. Okay, this is the answers. Yeah. Then how many tenant database we can create per instance? So it is 20, but you can change this one as well. So the configuration in the INA files, the limit is set to 20. Okay, if we change the limit, then we can create maximum. But default limit is 20. So per systems, you can create 20 tenants. Who can start and stop the tenant database? The system database, systemdb users with the database administrator system privileges. So database admin system privileges are there. If you have that database admin system privileges in systemdb, then you can start and stop the, you can able to start and stop the tenant database. Can we start and stop the tenant database from the tenant database? No, answer is no. You cannot start and stop your tenant database from tenant database. So means you logged in tenant database and there you are executing the SQL statement to stop the tenant. So that is not possible. What is daemon? I today explained. Okay, what is the start and stop sequence for HANA database? That today I explained. What is the lazy loading? I explained today. What happened when HANA system is restarted? Yeah, so that is also I explained. What is the delta merge in HANA database? Then is the delta merge applicable for which tables and why? Okay, so it is applicable for your column stores. And why? Because to achieve the right operations, to optimize the right operation on the column store tables, we use the delta merge. V means SAP provided the delta merge process in the HANA database. What happened during the delta merge process? Okay, so you have to explain what happened in the delta merge process. What happened after the delta merge process? Okay, so till now we have covered this one, and then I think yeah, INA files. Okay, so what is the path for the INA files from the OS level? So it is USR SAP SID, then sys globals, HDB, then customs, then inside that config, then inside that we have the systemdb, INA files, and then for tenants we have the db underscore SIDs. So in that db.sid we have the tenant specific INA files. And yeah, so yeah, till now we have covered this one. Okay, so this all types of interview question is covered. Okay, you can just go through that today's session and write down these all interview questions, and also provide me the answers. Okay, and then I'll look, I'll check the answer. If it is correct, then that is good. So I will be ensure that you got whatever I teach, you actually know that those things. So this are the interview questions till now. The course content, which whatever we completed, so all types of questions is covered. So we have completed the 50%, more than 50% of the course. Okay, so if you see that, so from next week we will start the backup and recovery, and then the remaining topics. Yeah, any questions? Yeah, Rakesh.
Licensing portion and the different directory paths, those are also not important.
License questions, yeah. So yeah, so you just give me the questions. So
Taking up
Yeah, so just so license topic session, you go to that. In that, I have explain about the interview questions. Like, let me recollect. Yeah, so what are the types of permanent licenses? So, yeah, enforced, unenforced. So what is different between these two? And what happen if your temporary license is expired? Then how you will install the temporary license? Okay. Then what happen if your permanent license is expired? How many days the grace period you will get? That is the 28 days grace period. Then yeah, so yeah, so and the unenforced enforced license or enforced license, difference between that one. Yeah, so that is, so it's all depends upon the the interviewer, what questions they ask. But whatever the topics I covered, I mentioned all the interview questions, what the questions are expected. So you just go through that session, and you just write down all these interview questions on your notepad, or maybe in Word documents, and also provide the answers, and then send it to me. Okay, I'll review, and if any changes, then I'll let you know. Okay, so yeah, if you're looking for change, then do it. If you're not looking for change, then it's not required. Fine. What is it, Rakesh, for directory path? What you're saying, that directory path? I didn't get you.
So you have mentioned the different directives like HANA shared, HANA log, and other.
Yeah, that is the file systems. Yeah.
Yeah, file system.
So interview questions we will ask on this. What are the file systems you required for the installation for HANA? That is GeoStar ACP, HANA Data SID, HANA Log SIDs, then HANA shared. Okay, and the separate file system for backups. Okay, you can mention that. Yeah. Okay, fine. So we'll close for today. Okay, if you don't have any questions. Okay,
I have
so,
a question.
yeah, tell me.
When we are doing an on-premise installation, the OS license like RHEL or SLS, whatever I select, that has to
Yeah.
be purchased separately. What happens in case of if we are using AWS or Azure? Because when we launch the instance, EC2 instance, it asks us for the options, right? That what are the selection of OS
Correct.
you would like to proceed for. So do they give us the license embedded with that selection itself, or do we purchase the license and then only that EC2 instance will support my HANA installation?
So two parts there. If you're going on, the AWS or Google Cloud or Azure. So for the license part, they have uh, given the options. You can buy the license from the cloud provider, or you can bring your own license. Okay. If you select bring your own license during the deployment of the VMs, then that time you have to provide the license for your Linux or OS, whatever OS it is, whether Linux or whether it is Windows. Okay, but if you choose the license from the cloud providers, then they will charge for monthly basis. Okay, so yeah, so it's all
Are the
depends upon
charges?
the included. Yeah, this the charges for the, if you're buy the license from the vendors, cloud providers, then the OS the charges will be included in that billings.
I mean, which one is suggested? Like, which one is better to use?
Yeah, so it is not like which one is the better, both one is the better. The only thing is that for example, if you have the on-premise, okay, you have on-premise data centers, you have the license for your on-premise, like you are on the Linux servers. Okay, so on on-premise, on-premise, you have the Linux, Windows examples, and you have the license. Okay, you have your own license, on-premise license. Okay, you already have the license from the OS vendors. Now you want to migrate your SAP on the same OS, same operating systems. You are not going to change the operating systems. Okay, in that case, you will use your own license to avoid the extra costs. So during the VMs build, there you provide your own license. Okay, so hardware, the infra team, they will use that the license. If it is a fresh implementation, new implementation, okay, and you are requesting a VMs, then there you can go with the license from the vendors. Okay, both are same. If you are purchasing from the direct from the OS vendor, then there you have to give the payment, complete payment. But in the Azure, you pay as you use. Okay, for example, if you use for 2 days, then you have to pay the license for 2 days, not for the entire days. Okay, not for the entire month. But in case of if you are buying the license from the OS vendors, like from the Windows or SUSE, and they will give you the one-time cost. Okay, for example, 1 lakh per year. Okay, one license for uh, something like just I'm coding this the 1 lakh uh, for 1 year for your one VMs. Okay, so here you are paying the entire amount during buying the license, during purchase. You pay all lump sum amount, but this is not the case for your Azure or AWS or Google or any cloud provider. There you are paying for the resources, whatever the resources you are using. If you shut down the VMs, if you're not using the VMs, if you shut down, then they will not charge. Okay, so the charges only applicable if you are using the VMs. Okay, if the VMs are up and running, then they will charge. Otherwise, they won't charge. Okay, so that is the difference. So that's the reason the people are going with the cloud providers, because there they reduce their cost. Okay, almost 50 to 60% cost is reduced because there is no upfront payment. So it is only uses basis. Okay, like this. So it's all depends upon yeah. So but the base one is this one. So whatever you use, you pay. So to avoid the unused cost. So unused cost is avoided in any cloud providers. So Azure is the best in this one. Azure, AWS, yeah, and the Google Cloud as well.
Okay.
Does this answer your questions?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And one more thing that some of the on-premise OS like AIX is not supported on the any clouds. Okay, so in that case you will be purchasing either Windows license or either SUSE license. Okay, so in that case your OS will change because AIX is not supported on any clouds. So there you will see that new license. It all depends. If you have the own license, on-premise license, use that one to avoid the extra cost. Something like that. Fine.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
So my question related the tenant database. So
Yeah.
yesterday we set 32 GB of the size for the tenant database, right?
Yeah.
So once the size of 32 GB reach to the that size limit, so what happens? Means the size automatically reduce, or we need to take a restart of tenant database, or SAP
No,
having some
it will
settings
not
for
reduce.
that.
It will not reduce.
So what's the solution for that? So we need to take a restart for that,
Increase
or
the if it is the requirement to have the more, then you increase the memory. Otherwise, if you don't have, then restart your tenants.
okay.
If you have
So
memory and whatever the utilized memory is is acceptable, okay, justified, then increase the memory. Otherwise, if you don't have the memory, you upgrade memory and then increase. Otherwise, you restart your tenants. Okay, then the utilization will go below. Okay, like this. Yeah, tell me.
So there is any notes for that? For
No, there's no any notes. It is just understanding for us. So there
okay.
is some maybe if you don't want to restart, for example, so there is some the parameters there. So if your memory utilization is for example 700, if you have specified 800 GB, if your memory utilization is 700, then all the it will perform the unloading. Okay, unloading of the tables. Okay, like restart. So unloading some parameters are there, so you can set that one and you specify your limit. Okay, in GB. Okay, if that limit is reached, that memory utilization is reached to that limit, then it will unload the you know tables from the memory. Yeah, so that is also possible, but I don't remember the that parameters. That is unload something is there. Unload parameters is there. If you search, you will get it. Yeah.
Sir, I have one notes number 1900257. So just
Okay.
wanted to understand what exactly for that.
Just a minute. What is the note number?
900257.
Sorry, repeat again. You break.
1900
19 19 triple 0.
00257.
Sorry, 1900
257.
257. Okay, 1900 257. Okay, what is that? How to handle HANA alerts 43 memory uses for the services. Okay. Okay. So what you need here? So what is your doubt here?
For that memory uses, if the memory is not releasing the space,
Mm-hmm.
so this notes should be considered to.
This note is talk about only about your how you collect the logs and send it to the SAP to troubleshoot. Okay, so here if you see that alert triggers due to the out of memory dumps. So if it is out of memory dumps, then you collect the trace and then send it to the SAP. Okay, so here it is doesn't talk about the resolutions. Let me see. The used memory, lab pick used memory, then execute select. Okay, so here it is showing you that which statement is causing more memory. So based on the durations, okay, then let me share that one so everyone can see. So here this is the alerts. If you get the alerts for memory users of services like this, okay, in the alerts out of memory something kind of, then like this. Check the services that consuming lot of memory. So which services consuming lot of memory, you check that one from the, okay, it is setting the threshold resolutions for the alerts. Improper threshold value settings, it could be resolved by resetting it to default. Okay, so sometimes it is mentioned that the alerts may be false because of you have set the the wrong threshold like 8, 9, 10. Okay, okay, the utilization in percentage. Okay, if that is the case, you unset, you configure the the threshold for this one. If it is not, that is, if that is not the case, then if alert is occurred due to the out of memory dumps, then in that case you have to contact ACP always. Okay, so you can do a troubleshooting from your end, but also you just raise a message with SAP. If you see that it is mentioned that whenever you see the out of memory dumps, okay, you raise with SAP and then you can do the troubleshooting side by side. So due to the various kind of possible causes, best way is raising a message to SAP. Okay, the component should be like this one, and open the remote connections, and then you provide the the logs. Okay, if you know which process runs out of memory, we could trace this process and the send a trace to the SAP for further analysis. So how to enable the trace? If you see that that day I explained about the SQL trace and the performance trace. So if SAP asks, then you enable the trace for your services and then send those logs to the SAP. If you know these services, then you configure the trace for that services. Otherwise, if SAP asks, then just follow the SAP guidelines for capturing the trace. So here it is, to mention you how to enable the SQL trace, how to enable the performance trace. Yeah, so like this. Okay, so and then yeah, so if we here it is showing that max used memory and the maximum used memory, but in that you won't see any the solutions. Okay, so here it is just showing you that in this SAP note how to identify which services and which statements taking more memory. So here if you see that in the performance threads, okay, based on the durations, so they are considering that this is taking the longer times or this is consuming the the memory, so this will be a culprit. Okay, so this is just a guess. Okay, but you will get the more clarity once SAP provide you the information on the out of memory dumps. Yeah, then how to use the SDBA? Okay, fine. How to analyze your dumps? So yeah, this is the text in the orange is the SQL statement who trigger the alerts. Okay, so this is the, if you open the trace, okay, diagnostic files, if you download this one, okay, TPT files and open, you can open this, you can open from the notepad or you can just open it directly from yours. So it will open in the HANA Studio. If you want to open in your notepad or WordPad, you can download and then open it. So here, yeah, so this is the third party tools. Okay, so it is very old, I think. So better involve SAP on this. If you want to see and troubleshoot, then follow this SAP notes. Okay, so here it doesn't talk about the resolutions, it talks about how you check. Okay, only. Okay, so nothing, the solution is not there in this SAP notes. The solution for out of memory is always you will get it from the SAP. Okay, if you know that this out of memory dumps is due to the memory shortage, then SAP will not help you. SAP will straightforward says that you go and increase the memory. If it is not due to the memory, if it is due to the system issues, bugs in the current support pack, or something issue in the SQL statement or queries, then SAP will help you. But if SAP doesn't find any error, any issues in your HANA systems from SAP software level, okay, then simply they will ask you to reduce the data or increase the memory. Simple. Okay. Fine. Any other questions?
No, sir.
I have one question. Like, actually, for the HANA Tech certification perspective, is it like HANA Studio has been deprecated? So, is it relevant at the point of exam point of view?
No,
Like, can I expect some questions from this area
no.
also? Like,
HANA Studio is not part of your HANA Tech.
okay.
HANA Studio is just for your, just for as a desktop tool. So there is no any questions from the HANA Studio.
Okay. Then HANA Cockpit is relevant.
HANA Cockpit is relevant. So whatever I am teaching here, so it is part of your HANA Tech certification. So whatever the course content here, if you see, okay, let me show you that. If you search, you will get everything. It's all related to the HANA Tech certification. I mentioned already here somewhere that you can go and prepare for the certification as well. Yes, so whatever here you see, it's all related to the HANA Tech. Okay, so here you will see all practical, but in the books you will see the theory part. If you know practical, then easily you can read theory and you can understand. Okay, so this is all related to the HANA Tech, and many students clear the certification exams based on these all topics. Yeah. So are you planning for the certification as well?
Yeah, actually, I have got the voucher from my organization. So,
IBM.
yeah.
Oh, so that is both you got Supratim, both you are in the IBM, right?
Yeah,
Only you.
but I tried last time, failed
Hmm.
actually. Like
You try without study, right?
memorizing some questions.
So 5 attempts you have now, right?
No, no. Actually, for our cases, we generally get 2 attempts. So yeah.
Why 2 attempts?
So it is like
Any
special purchased voucher by IBM. So
Acha, they purchase for you 1 or 2. Okay, okay. So for one, it is cost around 30,000. For complete, it will cost to 55,000. Yeah.
right,
That's
right.
it.
I think, sir, for
I
one attempt, 21,000.
21,000. Yeah. Arey, wow,
Yeah,
good, yeah. But in the 55,000, you can give the 6 certification. So you can give HANA admin, then OSDB migration, S4
but
admin,
company
then
will not allow. Company
uh,
will not give that one.
yeah, company will provide you only the ones. But if you're
Right.
going with yourself, then you go with the 50,000 registration. In that you will get 6 attempts. You can go for S4 HANA conversion certificate. You will be getting the
That
1
is
years
also
of.
reduced to 40,000 only.
It is reduced to 40,000.
Yeah.
Oh, सही है भी तो then fine. So then अच्छा है यार. So how many attempts now left for you for both?
No, actually, I have got only 2 attempts because actually my organization has provided that. Means I haven't purchased it on my own.
January quarter, I got 2. I cleared like S4 HANA conversion and system upgrade, but lost the another attempt. So again, I have to request to my manager to give the voucher in the next quarter.
So you clear S4 HANA conversion
Yes, yes.
without HANA admin.
Yes, you
HANA
can
Tech.
understand, na?
Damn.
Better, good luck.
Or
It's all,
memorizing some question. Yeah.
yeah. Fine. So don't go with the certification as of now. So I'll guide you for you the certification. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So whatever I teach till now, you just concentrate on that part. And once I complete, I will share some the PDFs and also the some question stems for your reference. Okay.
Okay.
So you can go through that, and then you then after that 1 or 2 months you just go and study, and then after 1 or 2 months, once you confident, then you go for the exams. Yeah. Fine. Any other question, guys? before I close? Any questions before I close?
No, sir.
Okay, then we'll close today's session, and then next week we'll have the same timing for the backup and recovery. And